what is a great example of a blend of youth and experience. Mark Levy, Brett Lobb, Ross Gigg, Ken Wolfe and Ben Gonzalez form the fullback and three-quarter line for Penrith, and then Brad Izzard, he teams up with the young schoolboy champion player Greg Alexander. Craig Connor, Peter Bergman, Warren Fenton, Joe Vitanza, Royce Simmons, Lou Zavanovic. The forward line for Penrith, again, you can see that youth and experience coming through. The Illawarra side, much the same. McPherson, Saunders, Brown, Hetherington, playing very well, Brian. Ozzie Welsh, Greg Mackey and Kevin Kelly, the halves. Steve Worthington's playing his first-grade game tonight, and in front of him, he's got Rod Henniker and Rod Reddy, and Rex Williams, Michael Bolton, Scott Greenland. Tim Sheens is the coach of Penrith, and Brian Smith is the coach of Illawarra. Both hoping, I'm sure, to do well, realising that the winner will go through to the quarterfinals, and their task in that quarter is going to be a lot more difficult, I would suggest, than maybe tonight. And so that's the situation. Keep your eyes out for the try of the match, won't you? I'll announce last week's winner for you just after half-time, but there are some great prizes in association with the National Panasonic Cup in 1984. We'll kick off the second match for you in just a moment. Referee in charge of this match is Greg McCallum. As we see the Steelers to run from left to right, sponsored by the Kaiser Stool people. And away they go with Greg Mackey, the man who scored that controversial try at the end of last Sunday's game, sending it down into the wing occupied by Gonzalez. And you don't have to be told what his nickname is. Brad Izzard kicking and finding the touchline about 32 metres out from his own line. The scrum of the match then, inside the first 30 seconds. Kelly is the Illawarra half in 7. He opposes Greg Alexander. Greg playing his 4th first-grade game, and a penalty to Penrith. That's feet across against Michael Bolt, the hooker and captain of the Illawarra side, and there he is on camera now. Mark Levy is the man taking the kick for line, and he's been at the head of discussions, I'm told, among selectors as they look towards rep sides. Well, that's what we're led to believe. Mark, at 29 years of age, is having one of his best years. That's Royce Simmons getting across the ground and picking up a second runner. And to play it as Joe Vitanza. Now, Alexander shows it and gives it again to the second man. That's Warren Fenton in the number 10. He's normally a lock forward, has been almost a permanent resident at lock for Penrith for a number of years.
Came to Penrith as a 5'8", then moved to lock forward. You wouldn't call him a solidly built or a robust second rower, but Warren Fenton's a player with a lot of ball skills, and we'll see him use those tonight. I think that he'll be very helpful to Greg Alexander, sharing that first pass roll around the rucks and helping to arrange and organise play.
Co-commentary coming from, again tonight, Bill Anderson, as the ball is swung through Alexander to the number 9, who is Peter Bergman. And from Simmons back to the blonde-headed Lou Zavanovic, playing his first match back after a torn cartilage, which he did in a trial at Orange. Away to Izzard, and he puts the little chip up, and Brian Hetherington had to fly high to bring it down about 25 metres out from his line. And this is Kelly now, or correction, Saunders, who played it. Greenland, big lump of a lad, Greenland. He damaged a knee.
He's a young player. He was hurt last year. He came into first grade at the tender age of 18 or 19, and that would only make him, say, 20 years of age at the moment. But Brian Smith's got a big rap on Greenlands. He's a good defender, a good worker around the rucks, and in 20-minute football, those fellows are invaluable to you.
Now, this is Wayne McPherson taking the kick for line. Played with East, and I think played with South too, did he not?
He started at South Sydney as a junior, and of course Brian Smith, a former South Sydney coach. There's a South Sydney connection with Illawarra. We can also see Greg Mackey as a former South Sydney player who's filling the 5'8" spot for the Steelers tonight.
From Bolt, it's gone through Kelly and picking up Henniker, who came from the coast to Norths and has returned to the Illawarra side. And here's Kelly holding it up and showing it, and then taking the hit three Penrith players involved. The wrap is on the same way through Mackie to Rex Williams,
who's a former Cronulla player.
Playing the ball 32 metres out centre ground. A run around there for Bolt on the halfback, and then turn back to Worthington, playing his first match, as I told you in the preview. And getting out of dummy half is Hetherington, and getting across the 22, and I thought for a moment he might have been able to slide that ball to the halfback.
Hetherington's a very good dummy half runner, and it's only a few years back that Brian Hetherington played for New South Wales, and this year he seems to have been rejuvenated under Brian Smith. He's been playing tremendous football, and it wouldn't be beyond him to play for the state again.
Yes, well, that ruling by Greg McCallum is against the number 9. Penrith for holding on to an Illawarra player, in fact obstructing his progress. For a moment I thought a penalty should have been given anyway, but no, that replay proves beyond any doubt that Illawarra were in possession and a penalty had to be given. So, in other words, the Penrith side have given 2 to save a possible 6. McPherson taking the kick at goal from 10 metres out. In fact, he could throw it over. So close is he.
Ray, one of the players you mentioned in the running of play there was Steve Worthington, number 8, the lock forward for Illawarra, and I know that Brian Smith's got tremendous raps on him. He's a very creative player. He's good with the ball. He's a good defender, only 19 years of age, and we're going to hear a lot more of him.
Here's McPherson. A very easy kick for goal, and he makes no mistake of it. And Illawarra take first points, leading by 2 points to 0.
No one puts friends in your kitchen, like National does.
Of course, players right through the National Panasonic Cup, vying for the rich spoils, one of them being the $20,000 worth of national product. It will go to the man judged as the superstar of the year, the national superstar. He has to be a player from one of the clubs playing on Cup final night. $20,000 worth of national. I know what some of the old timers are saying these days about the prizes and prize money and earnings that you can get from rugby league. The referee has correctly ordered 6 more tackles as Williams has tackled. Bolt. Cut out pass to Greenland. Fenton will want to get off him. Ready. Well, he's tripped over a divot. How embarrassing. And I was talking to Rod about those new boots that he's wearing. A new style of Adidas boot. We'll get a shot of them later for you. But the first time he's handled in his new boots, he's fallen over a divot that was sticking out of the ground about 1.5 inches. In fact, I joked to Rod. I said, why didn't you get some white ones with red stripes? He said, I'm not 32 years of age yet, if you're watching Chang. So Rocket's still got a sense of humour. I hope you have too. Ball being played now by Kenny Wolf. Now this is Zavanovic. A good ball. Good short passing by the Panthers. Craig Connor was one of the players involved there. He's wearing the number 8. Oh, Fenton putting it down. It was a devil of a pass to give him, though, from Alexander.
I don't think that pass was meant for Fenton. I'm sure it was directed towards the winger.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're going to put your hands up and clutch at it. You've got to cop the consequences, haven't you? You're probably right, though. Henika, a little run around for Bolt, and he was looking for somebody to hit it up. Here's the man. He's arrived late, but they still made good ground. That's the number 6, Mackie. Okay. Ready. And he's lost it. Penrith ball. What an embarrassing start for the international second rower. That's Ken Wolf again.
Even though Levy's playing fullback for Penrith, we can see how much they rely upon him. He's in the middle of the ruck helping to organise their play. They rely very much on his kicking game to get them out of trouble and to work their way downfield. And you'll even find that when they get into the opposition quarter, they also rely on his organisation and kicking game via the bomb.
I know it might sound like a stupid comparison, but I often compare Mark Levy's value to Penrith as I do with Kevin Hastings to Eastern Suburbs. It's not a bad kick, but it was well covered up by Ozzie Welsh, former Cronulla player. Plays in centre ground about 25 out from the Illawarra line. They're leading 2-0, the Steelers, and this is McPherson. Inside the 5 against Penrith. Tap being taken by Michael Bolt. Matter of fact, the clash of the hookers tonight is an interesting one. Bolt and Simmons have at one time or another been forecasted by the pundits, if you like, as being likely to wear the green and gold.
Well, they're two of the best young hookers running around in Sydney football, and if you add them to Mario Fennick from South Sydney, you've got 3 hookers that are going to challenge Ray Brown, who'd be the favourite at the moment for the representative hooking positions. You can see Hetherington again there running from dummy half. He's a very good, a very sensible dummy half runner, knows when to run and when to pass.
Oh, the 2 has gone straight through Saunders, and he was saved.
Oh, Greg Mackey would have scored under the post there. Had he looked, he would have seen Mackey outside unmarked.
Alexander cut him down with the line in full view, and there's a pass from Reddy going to a Penrith player. So the Panthers off the hook, but Hetherington's the man causing the trouble. He's standing and offering the ball, and the moment the Steelers start to give him much quicker support than they are, the gaps are there for the taking. Simmons getting it to Izzard, and they must stop him very quickly.
It was a great ball by Izzard. The player who made the tackle had his arms up high, so Simmons dropped his arms underneath the tackle in order to release.
Smart work then by the Panthers. Kenny Wolf has got around his man. He got around the 5'8". There's a try on. Kenny, he's dropped it. Certain 6-pointer gone for Penrith.
Well, that was a tremendous break by Penrith down the flank. Greg Mackey missed the tackle, and it looked like it was going to be a try unopposed under the post, but Wolf put down what appeared to be a fundamental pass.
No, it wasn't Wolf. It was Brett Lobb, I think, mate. Wolf's the man that passed it, and Brett Lobb, a former Fairfield patrician brother, has put it down. In fact, that school is heavily represented in the Penrith ranks tonight, Bill. Fairfield Pats, who played the curtain raiser, and you'll see it on television later on 10 in Sydney.
And talking about representation, just looking through the program, 9 of the 13 players who are playing for Illawarra tonight have represented other clubs prior to coming to the Steelers.
That's Worthington showing it on the inside before taking the hit. And he's put down by Connor and Wolf. 2-0 to Illawarra. This is Reddy getting it to Hetherington, and Hetherington again, he's got between the men, and he's got it to Saunders. Saunders flashing downfield 40 metres, a swerve, and then going back to the outside, and now the supporters overrunning.
Well, one of the players there was held back. It was Stan Brown. He was held back by a Penrith player. As I've mentioned many times in the past, they're the situations to use the sin bin. I hope referee McCallum is playing the advantage here, and when the Steelers have used up their 6, he's going to pull a Penrith player out and reprimand him severely.
So the ball played now by Mackey. To the left, it's gone through Greenland, and this man is Worthington. But all one can say at the end of 12 minutes, both these sides have opened up noticeably on a number of occasions, particularly Penrith. Oh, and there was a try for sure. Bomb by Illawarra's McPherson. There was a bomb went up, and the Penrith player obligingly made a complete mess of it. McPherson had it and lost it.
Getting back to the action, the linesman, John Colenso, has come onto the field with Greg McCallum, the referee, and a Penrith player is going to be called out. It's Warren Fenton, the second rower for Penrith, and I'm sure it's going to be about that incident where Stan Brown from Illawarra was interfered with as he tried to support the break down the left-hand side of the field.
I can't quite fathom that, though. Why come on now?
Well, the referee played the advantage. It may well be that Illawarra were going to score in that set of 6. They haven't, so now he's come in. The player's been reported, and the penalty will go to Illawarra, supposedly, or hopefully.
Now, you mean?
Yeah, and it's not going to.
It can't now, surely. It's gone on too long. What you're telling me is that he let it go on with a possible 6 in mind, but they could have had a shot for the sticks for 2. Anyway, Savanovic plays it now, but what a chapter of errors we've seen in the opening 14 minutes, and here's another big gap, and Alexander's popped into it. This is Izzard, picked a forward pass though, and another one has gone becking. Well, what a crazy game of football.
Greg Alexander's a wonderful footballer. Here we can see him make the initial break. There's no doubt in my mind, we'll watch it closely here. The pass does go forward to Brad Izzard. The referee was right on the spot and had no alternative but to give the penalty, to put down the scrum.
Penalty to Penrith, differential. You know, a lot of times you look at passes that have gone forward, and there's no doubt about it, but sometimes you think, wouldn't you think the man running in support would just hang off him by a couple of metres or even a metre, but they seem to want to run alongside you.
For all youngsters listening, you're far better to be a yard late than a yard early in football.
So it's Levy taking the kick for line. 14 minutes gone, and we've probably seen more tries bombed in this match in 15 minutes than we would see watching 3 other games back to back. Simmons is the man playing it. He got a good ball away to keep that previous attacking raid alive. Vitanza now. Dummy to a decoy and then to Zavanovic, and he's tackled. Put down by Greenland and Reddy. Across to Alexander. This is Izzard. Good long ball to Ken Wolf. Getting back infield. Popping it down. Picked up by Zavanovic on the second bounce. That man is Connor. Connor taken by Reddy and by Worthington.
Both sides are showing a willingness to move the ball about, and I'm sure that's contributing to the errors that are taking place.
Levy, that's a good tackle on him by Michael Bolt. He had to be taken up high to stop him from popping that ball to an overlap that had been created. Now to Alexander. Up goes the bomb, very high. And this will be 6 more, I think. No, he's given the penalty to Illawarra. Given the penalty to Illawarra. And I think the referee is suggesting that an Illawarra player was held. Yes, there he is. On the left of your screen, Ken Wolf was the offender, holding the number 3 for Illawarra out of the play. Good ruling by the referee. McPherson taking the line kick. Incredible amount of the game is being played inside the 22-metre line, isn't it? It's entertaining, if nothing else. Across to Rod Henniker now. A hit and spin, and back to Bolt, and now to Greenland. He's got the ball down, and it'll be a knock-on and a scrum. 10 metres on the Steelers side of halfway. I was telling you about the Fairfield Pat side. They play the Commonwealth Bank Cup match tonight against John Paul II Marion. It's a close match. Well worth watching. Levy, Lobb, and Alexander, of course, former Patrician brothers. Now, play on, says the referee. Ross Gigg kicks ahead. Hetherington going back, covering it up. And Hetherington's a play at about 12 metres out from the Illawarra line.
That wasn't a good decision that Gigg made to kick ahead there. Hetherington was always able to go back and cover up the kick, and I thought that he had plenty of support and had 6 tackles inside the Steelers' quarter had he elected to use them.
Stan Brown plays it through Kelly. Reddy. That's Williams. Got a pass away, beautifully taken and given immediately by the Illawarra number 4, Hetherington again.
That's the mark of a confident team. Illawarra were prepared to spread the ball in their own quarter. They thought they had an opportunity out wide, and they weren't shy in using it.
Henniker's kick, a big one. And bringing it back, Mark Levy. Close to quarter time. 2-0 to the Steelers. A stretch to the... Oh, and they've put it down. Illawarra in possession. It's Brown playing it. Man is Williams for Illawarra. And now Reddy. Bolt. Greenland has lost it. Fenton spins it quickly to the second rower, Bergman. Looks on his inside. In fact, it was the front row of Vitanza. Wolf away from one, the tackle of the lock forward, but now he's hit and put down. Dummy half for Penrith is Craig Connor. Roy Simmons, head down, running hard.
Very difficult player to tackle, Roy Simmons. He's built low to the ground, and he's able to duck under anything that comes around waist high, and any low tackles, he's very strong in the lower legs and is able to pull through a tackle which isn't made with a real commitment.
Scrums 1-1, penalties 4-3 to the Illawarra side. Picked up by Gonzalez, given to Izzard, and he's tackled 11 metres into Illawarra's area. Bad mistake to be making on the first tackle after winning a scrum. This is Gonzalez again. You can imagine the frustration on the face of the hooker when he came up after having won the scrum and finding a 5/8, spilling it on the first. Zavanovic getting it back to Izzard, and they've reached the 22 line. Time getting away. They'll probably put the bomb up on the next tackle. Simmons. There's 5. Connor's running with it, turning it inside. Wolf puts it down. Illawarra's McPherson with it now. So Penrith showing that they were prepared to run on the last tackle rather than kick.
I think we'll find that they'll vary their play in the quarter. They've got plenty of good kickers in players such as Levy and Alexander, but they showed us one of their options there with an inside pass, and that can be a good play, particularly if the marker of the defensive team rushes out very quickly to get the kicker. He leaves that little hole in behind to play the ball where an inside runner can find a gap.
And there's the siren bringing down the end to the first 20 minutes. Quite an amazing 20 minutes of football, let me tell you. Illawarra leading by 2 points to 0, but it wouldn't surprise anybody watching it, I'm sure, if the score was something like 12-all. We'll take a break and be back in just a minute. Quarter of the second National Panasonic Cup match for the year. Illawarra 2, Penrith no score. And if you've just joined us, we saw a first quarter where I'm not quite sure, but something like 4 or 5 try-scoring opportunities were absolutely bombed. Not by just the one side. And we've had a bit of a discussion here during the commercial break that Cronulla Balmain put the ball down a lot last week, and in this first quarter we've seen 14 fumbles, 14 dropped balls, 7 by each side. So there's a question mark on the balls being used. But Bill Anderson had a look at them before the match. And Bill, what was the opinion you formed?
Well, I don't think they're any worse than the balls that I've seen used at the weekend or in this competition in the past. The paint on them is a little different to what we've seen in the past, but I think that most drop balls are the result of bad passing rather than just bad handling by the receiver.
Sometimes it's an excuse that's nice to hide behind. Are you suggesting that? So here's Williams playing it now. Henniker pilling it forward. And this man is Levy. Brett Lobb.
That's more like the game plan, I'm sure, that the Steelers would have liked to employ early in this game, but they didn't hold the ball for sufficiently long enough periods to be able to keep that pressure.
Now, Brett Lobb has called for attention, or in fact, Mark Levy has called for attention for Brett Lobb. Brian Hetherington comes over the top. I don't think there's anything illegal in it, but that's what happened. He clipped him there. As he came over the top, Lobb was going to ground, and he's taken a pretty heavy hit.
Yeah, just getting back to that game plan, Ray, I'm sure that the Steelers would like to try to pin Penrith in their quarter. That sort of football is very effective in four-quarter football, and also it would minimise the effect of Mark Levy, who is at his best when he's able to work the ball down into the opposition quarter and use his bombs and his grubber kicks through. So if the Steelers can keep Penrith pinned in their quarter, I'm sure that'll suit them fine.
Slight delay as Brett Lobb receives attention, a chance to do something for Illawarra coach Brian Smith, who asked me, I don't mind saying hi to his mum, who's in hospital in Lismore for an operation tomorrow. So to you, Mrs. Smith, Brian is thinking of you, and the Steelers are under direct instructions that they've got to win for Mum. At the moment, they're in front by 2. That's Connor. And now Bergman, who from a distance looks very similar to the prop Vatanza. Another knock on. Midway 22 halfway. Panthers end. That's a scrum win against the feed to Penrith. That's a good heel to Royce Simmons. Levy coming up on the blind side. Tackled by McPherson, his opposite number. Connor. Izzard hitting it hard.
Izzard's been dangerous every time he's handled the ball tonight. Of course, we've got to go back 2 seasons when Brad Izzard played for New South Wales in a State of Origin game against Queensland, and when he finds down, and he's done that, he's obviously been training hard in the off-season. Izzard's one of the potentially the best and most dangerous backs in Sydney football.
Across the ground came Gonzalez, linking up with Izzard. Players all around him, but the Illawarra defence did well. They got themselves between the ball carrier and the supporter. And away goes Brett Lobb. Can he pass? Yes, he can. Connor turns it back for Levy, and we've got ourselves a try at last. Mark Levy scoring for Penrith. It was good work by the winger Brett Lobb and by the lock Craig Connor. Lobb got out of dummy half. He got into that situation, but I was able to stand and pop it. So was Connor, and Levy backing up earned the reward of such a pastime.
That all started with some very poor marker defence by Illawarra. They allowed the dummy half to make yardage out of there. It caused someone from the defensive line to have to come in and make a tackle. And then we saw some good spinning and delivering by the Penrith players to squeeze out a pass for a try.
Levy will attempt conversion of his own try. Mark's kick is about 15 metres in from touch. About 5 metres inside the 22. Brad Izzard. I was talking to Tim Sheehan at the opening function held by the league this year. Tim was going to play him on the wing. He reckons he's a dead set another Eric Growth, which is a huge rap, but the first time I see him, he's got the number 6 on his back. And when I said that, one of my colleagues fell on the floor with shock. Levy, the attempted conversion of his own try. Nice kick, never left the mark at any stage, as straight as an arrow. Penrith 6, Illawarra 2. Of course, we're asking you to keep your eyes out for the try of the night. It's the one that you can enter each and every week. And then at the end of the year, don't forget, the chance to match up with the judges, their opinions on the tries of the year. We'll tell you more about that later, of course, but the prize there for the viewer is a trip for 2 flying Japan Airlines, a great airline, and flying to Japan and then on to Los Angeles. Alexander kicking ahead into a vacant space. Wasn't shooting for line, I'm quite sure. It was simply a clearing kick that Saunders has fielded now, and the defencemen have come up and kept Illawarra in their territory. This defence is absolutely pathetic in some instances. Kelly has done very well, taken it downfield, heard somebody say, yes, I'm with you, and he gave it to him. But it happened to be Ross Gigg wearing another jumper.
I don't think we can blame the ball for that.
You can't blame the ball for that, nor can you blame the ball for Warren Fenton making a run of 30 metres out of the danger zone. Saunders and Kelly have made a couple of big inroads into Penrith territory, and both have been guilty of letting it all break down at that last vital moment, that precious moment. Connor now, a short ball and a knock on, a scrum to go down 35 metres out approximately from the Penrith line. 6-2 then to the Panthers. Steelers coming up with it. Kelly picked up in cover by the lock Connor. Mackie, McPherson. Mackie again. Ready. Penrith ball. Well, Rod's not having any luck at all. The first 25 minutes of this engagement tonight, I'm sure he'd rather forget. Alexander, he put on a spurt. Oh dear, there could be a man leaving us. Yes, he's gone. Rex Williams has been sent from the field of play. My goodness, this player went down. Williams knew the moment that he had hung his arm out that he was on his way. He threw his arms in the air and started to walk. Here it is again. Williams was wrong-footed, hung out the left arm, and down went Ken Wolfe. Reflex action, or whatever you like to call it. The fact of the matter remains that it's dangerous under the rules and regulations of the game, and I don't think the referee had any alternative than to do what he did with.
I agree fully. The intent wasn't there, but the action was carried out, and that's the unfortunate part of it. And, Rex threw his head back as soon as the incident happened, as much as to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
If we had a camera still on Rex Williams after the incident, you would have seen exactly what Bill Anderson is saying was true. He threw his hands in the air as if to say, oh, geez, I'm sorry. But here's our tackle now just outside the 22. Across now to Fenton, and Fenton is tackled just inside the quarter. Well, now Penrith leading by 6-2 and playing a team with 12 men. And this is Fenton, Simmons getting a ball down, and Levy backs up, turns it inside for Connor, and Penrith are in for their second try. He's given it as a fair try, and it was indeed. The prop got involved here. Vitanza did well to get a ball away. You'll see it on the replay, the national Panasonic replay. Little Roy Simmons scurried out, got the ball to that man Vitanza, off to Levy, inside for Connor, and he was in to pick up the try. There's just that little hint of whether he grounded it or not. Billy Anderson.
This try started with a great pass by Roy Simmons. Watch for it. There it is. He put that player, Vitanza, was it, into a hole. The play continued with Levy. It was simply then a draw and pass situation for the try adjacent to the posts.
Well,
looking at that one on the replay, there's a chance that it wasn't a try. The ball could have been knocked out prior to being prior to the possible grounding.
Well, I'd like to see that again if we can. I'm sure you people at home would too. And there it is. There's no way in the world that ball was grounded successfully.
Well, Greg Mackey's done well there. He was able to off-put the ball before it was put down.
Yeah, well, let me give you something else to think about now. That would have been a perfect case for an in-goal judge to help his man in the centre. And there's the conversion by Levy, sending Penrith to a 12-2 lead. Brought back to the restart by Mackey. It's going to really be an uphill drive now for the Steelers. One man down, Williams sent off, and the scoreline 12-2 against them.
Well, they've got to get back into the game in this quarter. There are 10 minutes remaining before the whistle sounds, and they've just got to do something about it now. If they leave it to the last two quarters, it's going to be too much leeway to pull back.
Kenny Wolfe to Fenton. Good player, this fellow, Warren Fenton. I know he's been around a long time, and I've been saying that for a long time, but he is a good player, Warren Fenton. Alexander's kick downfield, not well placed. McPherson underneath it. And he did a lot of light stepping, Wayne, but I don't know what he was dodging other than blades of grass. This is Welsh. Bolts the dummy half. Kelly. Greenland. An appeal from Greenland, I think, to the referee, saying, well, what about that? That was high. Ready now. Henniker. Bolt. Good pass from Bolt. Mackey. Ball knocked down by a Penrith player. That'll be play on. That's Ross Gigg. Out to the 32-metre line. A balmy night in Sydney. 27 degrees top here today. And you could have easily come down to the football at Leichhardt dressed in shorts and T-shirt. So hot is it? It's nothing to bring your towel with you though, Bill. Kick downfield to the Illawarra 22 for McPherson. Aussie Welsh. And the number 9 making that low tackle was Peter Bergman. Henica. Mackey. Ready? Worthington. Kelly's kick. Covered by Lobb. He had a long look at Levy and said, "Come with me." Brett Lobb is tackled in the centre of the ground, about 12 metres his side of halfway. Off goes Levy from dummy half. There's plenty of metres being made there.
Yeah, the marker defence by Illawarra isn't good. It's already cost them one try with a fundamental mistake by the marker, and that's something they're going to need to tidy up, and I'm sure that's something that their coach will alert them to at the next break.
Oh, that pass by Simmons around the corner could have led to a try. It's been put down. Referee has given Penrith possession and said play on, but Zavanovic playing it. Levy up into the back line. Alexander giving a short ball, but I think the referee has ruled it forward and is going to put a scrum down. Greg Alexander coming straight into your camera there. And no question about it being forward. I'm just wondering why he didn't give a penalty, to be honest with you. Illawarra now. To the left goes Worthington. Hetherington swerving around, getting to the 22. Saunders shrugging off a would-be tackle. Now it's with the centre three-quarter Brown.
Hetherington's got plenty of pace. He has no trouble at all. He uses a little in and away and is able to get round his man on the outside at will.
Most impressive performance by Hetherington, but on the other hand, the international second rower Rod Reddy is having a dismal night. Here's Alexander. Fenton. Tackler was Mackey. That man is the Tanza. Simmons.
Got plenty here.
Izzard's long ball away to Bergman, to Levy, inside for Lobb. And the Illawarra defence covering up quite well. Looked dangerous.
Sure did. The quick spread of the ball looked like it was on, but they just weren't able to capitalise.
Ross Gigg keeping it on the toe, and it'll be play on. And Penrith must score. Bergman's off. Penrith second row forward, Peter Bergman scoring after Illawarra failed to clean up a little kick by Ross Gigg. And Penrith enlarged their lead to 16-2. Little grub kick by Gigg. Came off an Illawarra player. Rod Reddy couldn't clean it up. Neither could the number 5, Aussie Welsh. And the referee said 6 more and play on. Ken Wolfe came on the scene, scooped it away to Bergman, and then it was just a case of shut the gate.
Well, this try came out of a real scramble. The ball was there for the taking. It was scooped up. Simply an inside pass now to Bergman, and he's got a clean passage to the line.
The picture tells the story. And Penrith scoring their third try, leading by 16 points to 2.
They haven't had to work hard for those tries either. They've just come out of nothing.
Levy has kicked 2 from 2. He scored a try, had a hand in another. So I guess he's polling pretty well for the National Panasonic Man of the Match Award, which totals something like $1,600. And there's the kick by Levy, successful. 18-2. 3 minutes before the half-time break. Incidentally, for Sydney viewers, our Monday night league show, League 84, we'll be doing a cover story on that young man, Greg Alexander. We opened with Eric Groth on Monday night, and Greg Alexander is our second personality profile next Monday. This is Izzard. Now Simmons. He's a good player, this fellow. He's done some nice stuff out there tonight. His performance has probably been out, or maybe overshadowed by the backs such as Mark Levy, but Simmons has been doing a lot of good work inside, in close, where it all starts. And touch judge ruling that ball has gone into touch.
He wants to knock on anyway.
Here it is on that camera that's looking down the ground. It's a great camera angle. Let's see what happens here. Well, I'm not going to argue with him. He's sitting on top of it. Brett Lobb was of the opinion that he scraped it in just in time. But it's a penalty to Penrith anyway. Differential for an arm down in the scrum. Incidentally, the player making the golden try, 1984, will receive the Cold Gold KB Gold Ingot, valued at $5,000. Well named, the Cold Gold KB Gold Ingot. $5,000 worth there to the players making the golden try, and that's good quick passing by the Panthers. They might be able to still keep it alive, but Warren Fenton is forced to play. Through Alexander to Izzard, the kick. Levy's going fast, he might get a good bounce, he's kept it on the feet, he's picked it up and passed, and Izzard will score. Well, that's a great piece of work by Mark Levy. You won't see too much better stuff than that, particularly if you're looking for footwork. But the 29-year-old Penrith fullback, we came here hearing about his form. He's turning it all on tonight. Izzard's little kick was a beauty. Levy kept it on the boot. Georgie Best would have been proud of him. And then Izzard backed him up, and in they go, the Panthers. And on the head-on, you'll see, I guess, the elation of Mark Levy as the try is given.
The referee had ruled 6 to go here. I don't know that Izzard was aware of it, but he kicked ahead on the first tackle, and it was a success. Levy followed through the kick, soccer-styled it ahead. He was fortunate to get a good bounce. Izzard had backed up his own kick, took the pass on the outside and scored under the posts. And Penrith, if they were ever in any danger, they're not now.
Brad Izzard, the try scorer, and Penrith leading by 22-2. And Levy has the easiest kick that he's had all night. 11 metres out, and no worries. Absolutely no worries. Penrith 24-2, and there's the siren sounding to bring us to the half-time break. And that's what we'll do right now. Why don't you join us for a little while, have a break, and be back for the second half, the third quarter, in just a moment. For the third quarter, but just up in front of it, the golden try nomination from last week's match between Balmain and Cronulla, and the try scorer, Steve Roach. Here he is now, 15 metres out, passing from dummy half. Roach switches the direction of it, then throws the dummy. He's split right through Roach. That's a brilliant individual try by the big man. A very neat piece of football by Steve Roach. Just about 2 minutes ago, we were telling you about the added skills that he was showing in his game this year. He threw the dummy to a player going open side, fended off another, stepped out of another, and plunged in to take the Balmain side to a 4-0 lead. And the National Compact Disc player, valued at $900. The winner's name, Mrs. C. Trent of Emerton, who I guess is a Penrith supporter. Mrs. C. Trent of Emerton wins that beautiful National Compact Disc player. Now here's how you enter for this week. It's Post Office Box 144, North Ryde, New South Wales 2131. And if you want to go a step further,
you can include the official entry form, which you can pick up from any national dealer, and you could win the bonus prize of not only the compact disc, but also a national portable colour TV valued at $549. Okay, let's go to the kickoff now. 24-2 Penrith. Levy.
As play gets underway for this third quarter, we can see that Scott Greenland, the front rower for Illawarra, has been replaced. He was limping at the end of that second quarter, and he's been replaced by Michael Wicks, who's not a specialist front rower, wearing jumper number 17. And Michael Wicks, wearing jumper number 17, is a young fellow, 17 years of age. So he's a youngster to be having his first game in first grade against a side running pretty hot at the moment.
I hope for Scott Greenland's sake that it's not the same knee that he had extensive surgery on, I think it was last year.
Well, they've got front row problems at the moment, the Steelers. Peter Smith's out injured. Rex Williams has been sent from the field in this match, and Scott Greenland has had to leave the field with injury. So their front row stocks are at a real low.
Alexander. Levy. It's Gonzalez. Savanovic, who's going longer in this match than was predicted. Some thought that he'd only go 40 minutes and they'd bring Les White on. Simmons. Bergman to play it. Tackler was Mackey. Alexander. And a neat kick through, nicely fielded by Kelly, but a penalty's gone to the Steelers nevertheless. I think he's ruled both those Penrith players were fractionally in front of Greg Alexander. There's the kick by Alexander, and the referee was right. Now, both those players are supposed to stay 5 metres away from the Illawarra player. They didn't, and that's the reason for the penalty. McPherson taking the line kick, and that's an awful blunder to make, particularly with circumstances the way they are against Illawarra at the moment. Playing with 12 men, repeating Rex Williams sent off during the second quarter, and trailing now 24-2. Illawarra's penalty. This is against Savanovic. Savanovic penalised. Here he was taken down. Just let it go on if we can. Well, I'm not sure what he's got him for, but the referee was waving his foot about as he indicated to Savanovic what he was doing wrong. Whether it was indiscriminately kicking to free himself from the tackle that he got him for, I'm not positive. Anyway, Lou's come up with the ball again as Illawarra obligingly cough it up again. Now Penrith's done the same, and we've got ourselves a scrum. Midway 22 halfway. Penrith's end of the ground. There's your scrums and penalties at the moment. 4-3 to Illawarra scrums, 6-5 penalties to the Steelers. But they'd quite gladly give up the advantage in both those statistics for the scoreline, which reads out 24-2 to Penrith. Now, I think he's got Alexander here for the feed. He's telling him he wants the ball rolled in along the ground. Well,
I wish him well.
yes, I was just going to say Greg McCallum has given the ruling according to the book, but I was sitting through rugby league last year when it was brought in, that rule, and I said to Bill at the end of it, have you ever seen a scrum fed correctly in 1983? And he said no. And I must admit, I agreed with him entirely. And here we find a referee penalising for that very offence. Now he's telling the Illawarra half, I think, how to do it. And he did too. And this is Kelly. Now Mackey, Hetherington, playing in a side trailing by 22 points. He's been quite outstanding, Brian. Kelly again. Mackie. A few Wednesdays coming up in the near future away from Sydney. May 2 we're at Lang Park. May 9 we're at Bathurst. And May 16 we're back at Lang Park. Well, that's a good play, the ball by Penrith. Brad Izzard, would you believe he didn't have a dummy half and the marker was able to get round and fall on it? That's disgraceful stuff from a first-grade rugby league side.
We can't blame Izzard. He did his job, got to his feet quickly, played the ball quickly, did everything right, but just didn't have a dummy half.
Don't take it that I was blaming Brad Izzard, please, no. Through Kelly to Mackie, a cut-out ball, and it's gone out to Wayne McPherson, but Gig around the legs, Alexander over the top. Rod Henniker down injured in the back play for Illawarra. The bomb attempt was put in by Kelly. It's with Worthington now. Bolt. Play just inside the Penrith 22 line. That's Wicks playing in the 17 jumper. Hetherington running around the halfback. 5 tackles gone. Ken Boothroyd is out there with Rod Henniker calling for a stretcher as the bomb goes up. Oh, Levy has put it down but then covered it up. And it's going to be a line drop out, and now the referee has called timeout. It's the only blemish on Mark Levy's game. In fact, he was able to cover it up anyway. Same result, a line drop out. Henniker being assisted from the field by the Illawarra staff.
I've got no idea who'll pack down in the prop position now for the Steelers.
There's Henniker getting hurt. His knee came in contact with the head of Brad Izzard. That was the incident where Brad got up and played the ball and there was no dummy half, in fact. Line drop out by Levy. Taken by Mackie. Steve Topper is out there for Illawarra now. You'll pick him. He'll be the smallest bloke on your screens. Jockey-sized in number 14 jumper. There he is, Steve Topper. And Robert Thompson has gone out there. Now Reddy's packed down in the front row as Penrith come away with it. And this is Izzard. Top of the tackler. Delaney on for Penrith. That's him with it. Les White is getting ready on the sidelines to come on for the Penrith side. Former Parramatta junior, I think, Les. Warren Fenton to play it. Back inside his 22. Delaney is the dummy half. Levy to clear. That's Welsh. Held by Lobb, who's had his left leg very heavily taped, apparently during the halftime break. Wicks just outside the 22. Bolt. 3-man Penrith tackle. 24-2. Ready. Topper. Mackie. Topper's kick high. And down to Penrith. And referee ruling a knock-on against the Panthers. And the scoreline 24-2 in favour of Penrith.
But no matter how far or how wide I roam, I still call Australia. I still call Australia. Still call Australia. From national.
I want some, whatchamacallit, for the thingamajig.
It's easy as BBC. BBC.
In BBC's expansion sale catalogue, you'll find microwave cooking scales takes the guesswork out of cooking with microwave, $24.95. HBM PowerMate provides 4 handy outlets, $7.95. And get in early for winter warmth. This Camrook Duo Radiant Heater, 2 heaters in one, just $29.95.
Les White. Les White has gone on for Penrith. And he's taken the place of Vatanza. In fact, it's Bergman who's come off for Penrith, the second rower. Penalty to Illawarra. No Cup football next Wednesday, incidentally. It's a Winfield Cup replay that we'll have for you. Parramatta and St George next Wednesday. Next National Panasonic Cup match a fortnight tonight from Lang Park between Brisbane and South Sydney. Illawarra with Thompson calling Bolt around him. Thompson's the dummy half wearing a bandage around the forehead. He had about 8 stitches removed from a gash to that area only tonight. Hetherington playing it to Topper. Mackie. Brett Lobb knocking on in goal. It'll be a line dropper. Forget when you're putting those envelopes in for the try of the match competition, put your name and address on the back of the envelope together with the name of the try scorer. Don't forget to do that. Name and address and the name of the try scorer. If a person scores more than one try, then put try number 2 or whatever. And don't forget, you get the added bonus of that extra prize from National by going to a National dealer and getting the official entry form and putting it inside the envelope. Ball played by Stevie Topper out to Mackie, and the kick has been regathered, and there could be a try. Oh, the pass to Hetherington was well in front of him. Picked up by Les White. Connor. Simmons. Levy. Saunders.
Go, boy. Come on. Good work. Well done. Good defense. Let's go. Well, they're probably quite late. Come on, get a bit of weight there to go.
Illawarra penalty. Captain Royce Simmons called out to hear what the referee is saying to Greg Alexander. It's about the way he's feeding the ball, not along the ground. McPherson taking the kick for Lyon. Don't forget the Big League magazine. It's always great reading. And in this week's edition, an exclusive story about Arthur Beetson's interest in returning to Sydney to coach. And also Peter Sterling, a colour tribute to him, having played his 100th first grade game, and a colour pin-up of North's Don McKinnon. Rod Reddy now to play it, just outside the 22 line. Through Mackey, it's with Worthington. It's a good piece of work by Worthington, back to Topper. From Thompson to Wicks. Brown. Michael Davis on the sideline for Penrith. Little halfback who had a contract. I'll tell you about it in a moment. Fielded nicely by Mark Levy. Saving what could have been a try for Illawarra. As the ball goes away with the lock forward, Craig Connor. Zvanovic. Here's this little fellow Davis. He's no bigger than Steve Topper. He's the young fellow who actually fractured his neck a couple of seasons back. He got a contract this year with Parramatta. No sooner had he been graded, I should say, than he went down and trialled with Penrith and signed on with the Panthers. So he'd be one of very few people who have said to Parramatta, chewy on your boot, I'm going somewhere else, no matter what you think.
Well, he was obviously looking at the possibility of playing first grade, and he's already done that with Penrith so far this year, but he's got a very good young man in front of him in Greg Alexander, and I don't know that he'll be putting him out.
Brown. Again, you can see that enormous amount of ground that's there just about every play of the ball. If you want to run from dummy half, you can run as far as you want it. Nobody seems to want to stop you. And here's the Steelers throwing it about. But as has often been the case, it's gone to ground. They've picked up a penalty. That's for holding the Illawarra player, Greg Mackey, who was supporting the ball carrier. Michael Davis has gone on now in jumper number 14, and he's going to replace Greg Alexander, is he? No, he's calling Brett Lobb across. So I think, well, Alexander will probably go to the pivot spot, and Izzard would push out into the centres. Topper. That's Wicks. 24-2 then, and a knock on, so a scrum 10 metres out from the Penrith line. Brett Lobb leaving the field. So you won't see two smaller halfbacks in the one game of first grade rugby league, I'd suggest to you, than you will in this match. This is White with a good run. Good run and good ball work, but he's ruled it forward. Well, I'd dispute that. It looked like a tremendous piece of work by Les White. He turned the ball back. Levy was there supporting, and the referee, who wasn't adjacent to the players, ruled that the ball was thrown forward. I disagree entirely. I think it was a great piece of work, and sadly brought undone by a referee's decision. Penalty to Penrith. That's against Stevie Topper for not retiring.
And they haven't had many of those of late.
(10-6) the penalties to the Steelers, 7-5 the scrums to the same side. Connor, he's lost it. That tackle must have hurt, because there's no way he had hold of that ball at any time. Ready. Mackey. McPherson telling his winger to get inside. Saunders
Gets inside eventually, but knocked down by Penrith. 6 more. Thompson's the dummy half in 16. Worthy. Topper. Wicks in 17. They've done well, the Steelers, with 11 men. They've held Penrith basically in their own half for the 18 minutes of the third quarter. But it's 11 men. Cricket team. 12 men. All right. I did send some people into a dizzy spin here. Penalty to Illawarra. It's against the 2 markers for not remaining one behind the other.
It surprises me because the fellow that raced up there, the young Davis, wasn't the second marker. He was in the defensive line, in fact.
Topper. Short ball for Thompson. Michael Bolt. He was coming out of the dummy half zone looking for a runner, but there was nobody running. He's ready. And they've opened up Penrith. Levy with a desperate attempt to save, and he has, I think. The referee has ruled the ball was lost in goal, and he's taking it back to the 22 for the restart. Well, you can thank Levy for that. He never gave up. It was a nicely executed piece of work until there by the Illawarra side. And there's the siren bringing down the curtain on the third quarter. Penrith leading easily by 24 points to 2. We'll be back in just a minute. Easily. Although that third quarter was a much better quarter for the Illawarra side. They've been playing with 12 men since midway through the second quarter. Whether or not Penrith have aided the Illawarra cause by becoming a little bit complacent, here's another question. This is Saunders. Kim Patrick has gone on for Illawarra. That's him at dummy half, as a matter of fact. Ozzie Welsh has come from the field. A kick by Mackie. It's nicely covered up by Mark Levy. He's beaten a couple. And this is Gonzalez, who's tackled some 25 metres out from the Illawarra line. Through Davis, out to Gig, on to Izzard, now to Fenton. Here's Alexander out very wide. Pass turned in field for Delaney. Fenton knocking on. Brian Hetherington. Alexander has now gone to the centres with Gig, and Izzard is playing at 5/8. Penrith getting a replacement ready to come on. Tuza, Christian name?
Attila Tuza.
Attila,
That's right.
Last tackle for the Steelers. Mackie. It's going straight down to Ben Gonzalez. Levy. Gig. Oh, this is terrible. You look at men out there, they've been standing all night. The thought of somebody coming over the top and taking him to ground, you'd think hadn't entered the minds of some of these players. If you had to rate the match defence-wise, it wouldn't be a very high mark you'd give out of 10.
I don't think we could put much of a rap on the handling either.
Worthington, Alexander. And Levy or Izzard putting it to ground. Wicks. Topper. Mackie. Patrick. That match at Bathurst, by the way, on May the 9th is between the New South Wales Combined Countryside and they play the Magpies, Western Suburbs. Topper. Mackie. And it's Levy now.
Push it back! Well, don't let him up, boss. Come on. Coming out, Brian.
Penalty to Illawarra. Tap to be taken by Michael Bolt. Attila Tuza has gone on, replaced Lou Zavanovic. Hetherington getting around Alexander, heading off for the corner, and with strength and strength alone, he's taken it in for Illawarra's try. Referee just consulting his touch judge. This was the replay of it. Nobody in the Illawarra side more deserving of a try, certainly not deserving of a defeat like the one that's being handed out to them. Brian Hetherington in to score in the corner.
All night, Brian Hetherington has showed us his inability to beat his man on the outside with a little in and away, and we saw it again there. He firstly beat Greg Alexander in the defensive line, and in a similar fashion, he beat the fullback. He stood him up and then went outside him to score.
Brian Hetherington, who was a member of that very good Newtown side with Tommy Radonicus. Played that grand final against Para. "14 minutes to go. Monster of a kick for Wayne McPherson. It's got the height, it's got the length, but it's just across the face of the upright. So no goal, and scoreline 24-6 in favour of Penrith with 14 minutes to go. Worthington.
Good work, lad. That's the boy. Come on, right off in.
Saunders. Mackie. Sunday's match for replay here in Sydney, Souths and Manly. Saunders. Good two-man tackle there, Gonzalez and White. Thompson. And that came off the leg of the Penrith winger, so it'll be a Illawarra feed to a scrum just outside the Penrith 22. Well, the handling errors tonight, as was the case last Wednesday, of high proportion, 22-21. Mackie.
Come on!
Topper. Thompson. Quick tap taken by Michael Bolt. Well, those players were inside the 10. Play allowed to go. It's with Topper, Mackey, McPherson. Short ball for Brown. Smothered up, though, by Davis and Connor. Mackey switching it. Running it is Wicks. And in one side, out the other. Getting the pass away, but forward.
Wicks has been fairly impressive since he came on the field. He's a 17-year-old youngster having his first game in first grade for the Steelers, but he's hit the ball up hard. He's tackled well around the rucks, and as we saw there, even though that wasn't a successful offload, he's looked to get the ball away in tackles as he's been held.
Fed by Michael Davis. Away goes Levy from dummy half. Les White. He's not a bad player, this fellow, White. Illawarra coming up with some loose ball. And the referee is going to put another scrum down. The Steelers a penalty. And he's got Michael Davis for the same offence that he's pinched Greg Alexander for a couple of times earlier in the match. Hedrington. Mackey, just inside the 10-metre line. Tackled by Vitanza. Ready. Worthington. And the tackle made by Alexander, just a few metres out from the Penrith line. Last tackle. Topper putting it up. And it's with the Panthers. Tuza. Connor. Ball just popped out of his grasp like a piece of soap. Seriously, it just sort of fell out. Just fell out. Hetherington. That ball will be ruled backwards. It was Saunders' tackle. I'm not so sure, Bill. I'm starting to think those statistics. Well, there's Reddy putting it down again. I'm starting to think that the statistics out of last week and this week's matches has something to do with more than just inability to handle. Izzard. Halfback run around for Davis. Izzard again. Out to Alexander. Turning it back inside beautifully for Izzard to go ahead. Can he do likewise? Too much defence around there. Just a little glimpse of the ability of this young fellow, Alexander. He's playing in his fourth first grade match tonight. He's played half, 5, 8th and centre already in those 4 matches. This man has played it pretty tough. Vitanza. Now Davis. There's the dummy and tries to split. Michael Bolt showing his hand to the referee. He's saying I was bitten. Away goes Delaney from dummy half. Pops it back for Connor. Bolt is still complaining to the referee about an incident involving a tackle he made 2 tackles back. The bomb by Levy. And a penalty to Penrith. Ross Gigg was knocked over in the back play. Watch Ross Gigg, the number 3 going through, and there's the Illawarra offender in 16, Thompson. And an easy one for Mark Levy. A penalty adjacent to the uprights, and he'll only take it back about 10 metres to attempt the penalty kick. Little doubt that Thompson didn't want Ross Gigg around when that ball came down. 24-6. Levy should have little trouble in making it 26-6, which will take his personal tally along to what? Don't be frightened, man. Say something. 14 for the match if he kicks this. And Levy does what one would have thought, and 26-6 then in favour of the Penrith Panthers over the Illawarra Steelers. Fairfield Patrician Brothers against John Paul II is the Commonwealth Bank Cup match that follows for viewers on 10 in Sydney. I saw something after that match which I meant to mention earlier up in the telecast because I think it deserves mention. The John Paul side did something that I admired greatly in them. The young sportsmen, they went over to their fans who'd made a long trip down here to spur them on. They went over and thanked them by applauding their schoolmates who'd come down here to cheer them on. I almost was going to give you the result then, but when you do hear the result, you'll understand even more so why I thought it was a great gesture by the John Paul players. Something that is lacking, I believe, quite definitely, even at junior levels of this game of ours. It's through the inside backs out to Kim Patrick. Hetherington brought down on the 22 line.
Hetherington hasn't stopped trying all night. He's been in a well-beaten side, but every time that he's handled the ball, he's done his job. No more could have been expected of Brian Hetherington tonight.
Just repeating that Rex Williams was sent from the field of play midway through the second quarter for a high tackle on Penrith centre Ken Wolfe. And a penalty now to Illawarra. Michael Bolt taking the tap. Mackie across to Reddy, then to Hetherington. Thompson cleaning up his own mistake. Brown still going, he'll score. From dummy half again, have we seen a player able to make tremendous ground and simply highlighting very poor marker defence. And it's not just been something that Illawarra has fallen down in. It's been there on both sides.
Well, Ray, you said it all. Bad marker defence by Penrith on that occasion. We can see Brown skipped out of dummy half, and I've got to say, but it's very hard to stay grim in defence when it's not necessary, and I think that's more relaxation rather than technique, or a lack in concentration by Penrith rather than their technique on that occasion.
That trainer there with Stan Brown, the try scorer, Ken Boothroyd, had a long time with St George. And I think I'm right in saying Ken was there right through those big days at St George. He was with Harry Bath. I think he was with some other coaches there at St George, though, at the same time. Here's the kick from way out for McPherson. 26-10 at the moment. Again, he's got a nice high kick through, but it's just wide. No change in the scoreline. Penrith 26, Illawarra 10. Well, to Illawarra's credit, with 12 men, they've been able to put on 2 tries, and I think what Bill said earlier is probably the main point. Penrith has gone into a state of relaxation. Probably that's more to do with it than anything else. But at least the Steelers haven't given up. Worthington. Ross Gigg. Simmons. Vitanza. Davis, Izzard, Levy. And there's the siren. Mercifully bringing to an end this National Panasonic Cup match from an Illawarra point of view, that is. Losing out by 26 points to 10. And for the Panthers, Levy, Connor, Bergman and Izzard scored the tries. Levy kicked 5 goals, personal tally 14. And for the Steelers, Hetherington and Brown the tries. McPherson, 1 goal. 26-10 then, the final count in this match between Penrith and Illawarra tonight. And we'll be back with the announcement of the Superstar points and the Man of the Match award in just